Welcome. Even as the COVID-19 pandemic ravages the country, we want to look at a specific sector, the digital e-commerce space. And for this, we are joined by Sam Chapatte, who is the CEO of Jumia Kenya. Welcome to our outside broadcasting studios.
Thank you very much, and welcome to Jumia.
Straight off the bat, we want to know exactly what is happening with the sector today. We have seen a lot of disruptions, a lot of falling revenues, and so on and so forth. But for you, how has it been navigating through the headwinds of this challenge?
It's been a challenging period for us as well. Firstly, adapting to the COVID-19 way of working, right? And so the first thing we did was we wanted to take care of our people. Right? And so we sent people home. The vast majority of our teams are either working from home or working with COVID-proof safety standards, rolling out PPE, protective gear, then protecting our customers and our vendors. And so making sure that our vendor drop-off points have social distancing. And then we move into what does e-commerce look like over this period? And I think as an industry, it's been quite exciting on one hand, but a bit mixed also. In many parts of the world, e-commerce is exploding, right? In parts of the world in particular where there's been full lockdown. That hasn't quite happened here. The government's taken many initiatives. We've seen very strong growth in some categories, everyday products, unga, sugar, healthcare products. All of those categories are growing very well, which is quite exciting. On the other hand, we see a slowing down of the online sales of other categories such as televisions, phones, and the sales of restaurants. The sales of restaurants, for example, on Jumia Food, are down quite a lot because the evening meal is out.
Could you perhaps, while speaking about the sudden growth and uptake of these basic essentials, give us perhaps maybe the numbers? By how much has this really gone up as Kenyans stay at home and order for these essentials?
As I say, it's mixed, right? It's mixed because I think, on the categories that I mentioned, the everyday products, 100% growth. Type thing. Yeah, if you look from a year-on-year perspective, that kind of range. But then other categories are slightly contracting. So the overall industry, overall e-commerce, overall Jumia is doing good, I would say, which in this environment, is not to be taken for granted, right? So it's an industry which is continues to grow in an environment where everything is contracting. And then within that, you see particular areas that are sort of growing very fast.
You spoke about the government support and how things are going right now. How has legislation and policy aided platforms such as yours in continuing with the continuity even during this time?
Yeah, I think actually, there's been, number one, it's a very difficult situation, I think, for the government. I would not want to be, in the cabinet secretary teams that are trying to work this out. I think it's very difficult, right? Trying to keep the economy going whilst keeping people safe. It's a very difficult situation. So I think that's been quite impressive. We're pleased that e-commerce is being treated as an essential service, so that people can stay home and keep safe and still get access to the food supplies that they need. Right? And so I think we're fulfilling as an industry a very important mission in terms of keeping people home and giving them access to what they need. And we're working very closely with government, particularly around, for example, restaurant rules and regulations. So I think overall quite supportive. I think the one flag for me, and I think as an industry overall, is in parallel, being considered an essential service and trying to help people stay safe and keep at home. And on the other side, rolling out sort of digital tax discussions with very, very limited industry engagement is somewhat worrying.
Speaking to that as the chairperson of the e-commerce sector in the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, perhaps you can tell us more about that 1.5% tax that the government now is rolling out. How is it touching the sector now?
Yeah, I think So what's really important is that we accept that KRA needs to generate revenue. That's very clear, and everyone needs to play their part in that. And it's not an easy job they have to do that. We're very clear on that. What we also need to be clear about is that the digital economy is very small today. E-commerce is 1% to 2% of retail in Kenya. So 1 or 2 in every 100 transactions are happening online. That's not very big. Once e-commerce is so big, you have to be online, then you have no choice. Today, it's not that big. And so many sellers would say, I don't want to go online, right? And so if we want to create an environment that can be taxed easily because it's digital, you want to make sure that that environment succeeds and grows. And if you distort the playing field, if you put in place a digital tax that creates a higher cost to the consumer in the digital environment that does not apply to the offline environment, then you're not going to see the economy digitizing.
So you say that unfortunately this digital tax will mean passing the cost to the consumer. Yeah. What assurities would be there or incentives for the consumer who wanted to buy that hair dryer or that Jiko that now has gone up a bit? Any assurities at all?
That's the point. I mean, this is going to drive, increased costs to consumers. So, we're going to slow down growth for the tech hub that is Kenya, for all of our tech businesses, which is going to make them less attractive to investors, which is going to mean they're going to have lower run rates. And many businesses are going to go many businesses are going to go bust, if they have to deal with these disincentives and work even harder to do the job of digitizing the economy. Digitizing the economy is going to be done by the private sector, full stop, right? And if there's no private sector to do that, because there's an unlevel playing field, then that's going to take a very long time to happen.
Well, only time will tell on that space, but turning the ship around and looking into more green festive things, it's almost that time of the year where we have Jumia anniversary. What are your customers looking forward to in this anniversary?
Yeah, no, we're very excited about it. It's our 8th year in Kenya. We are very proud of how far we've come as Jumia, and thanks to our teams, our customers, our vendors. And it's really a celebration of that. And I think this year's slogan is sort of stronger together, bringing the goods that people need at even better prices. Every shilling counts today. And so a huge range of products that everyone is looking for these days at great prices. Continuing to do contactless and cashless delivery, and making it a bit fun as well. I think a lot of people have been sitting at home, cooped up, or a bit of anxious over this period. So we're kind of trying to have a bit of fun with it as well. So we've got quite a lot of fun videos, fun games, and stuff to keep people engaged.
For you personally, what is that one thing for the year, this one for the Jumia anniversary, that is totally different from the previous one that you are really excited about?
I'm really excited about the Aoko Jamii sort of initiative that we've got. And this is, again, specifically designed to help people most in need of COVID-19. So we've partnered up with a community organization called Shofco. And customers or companies that want to do their bit can go onto Jumia, can order a family pack, a household pack of dry goods, pay for it online easily, and then Jumia will physically deliver those products to the households most in need in the urban inner city areas. So I'm actually really excited about that, and we hope to use the campaign that kicks off next week to raise awareness of this as well, to encourage other businesses, other individuals to do their part, and we'll be making donations into this as well.
Do you agree then with the assessment that many studies are showing now that companies are more attractive if they have a social impact, even for potential employees? They see that this company has a social impact on the community. I think I want to work for that company. Do you agree with this assessment?
I think our approach to CSR is twofold. I think by and around one theme really, which is by delivering on our core mission, I think we have a huge social impact. we create a lot of jobs. We create a lot of jobs. To give you an idea, we have 100 sellers signing up a day on Jumia because it's easy, because we give free training, because there's zero sign-up cost. And we are helping them grow, we are helping create jobs. So by doing our core mission, I think we have a huge amount of social impact. I also think that we are creating a generation of entrepreneurs in Kenya. Like, we have a team of roughly 400 people today. These amazing guys and girls are doing great work, are learning how to scale an early stage tech business. And I think they're going to they're going to be the core of a generation of entrepreneurs in Kenya in the years ahead. So I think that's another very big impact that we have. And the third thing I would say that we do, which we're also very excited about, and actually that we've been talking about this morning, is to support local manufacturers. We offer a 50% reduction on our commissions to local manufacturers, people manufacturing in Kenya. And that's our bit towards our way of supporting the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative.
Speaking of innovation as well, what are some of the innovation you see Jumia rolling out in the coming years, if not months? What are some of the exciting innovations that you're bringing into the sector and for the consumer on the ground? Especially, by the way, for those who do not have smartphones, we still have a lot of people who are still using these feature phones. Perhaps they use USSD, perhaps.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I mean, we've just rolled out two quite big innovations, which are more B2B facing, I would say. So, we've just opened up Jumia Advertising, which is opening up our platform and our data to third-party advertisers. It's growing very quickly. We think we deliver very strong ROI to clients on our platform. And we've also just announced that we're opening up our logistics platform, Jumia Services, to third parties so that people can benefit from our logistics scale today. And we can give more volumes to our logistics partners. So we want to provide more working capital financing to our partners. I'm very keen to launch consumer finance on Jumia so that you can buy a fridge, maybe buy your first fridge and buy it on installments. We think that would help a lot of people. So we're excited about that. We are rolling out more affordable meals on the Jumia food platform. So our sort of Bepoa range. I would love for people to be able to order their 150 shillings, 200 shilling meals on Jumia food. Maybe to pre-order them, but then to get a great quality, very high food safety standards delivered meal, I think would be really exciting and would bring a lot more people into e-commerce if we can do that. And then another thing that we've already started, but I think is particularly relevant for your point around how do you open up e-commerce access to people that don't have the internet? As in, maybe don't have a smartphone or can't afford to regularly use their data, which is a lot of people. And that's where our offline stores, our offline agencies are very exciting. We have about, I was looking at the recent numbers, we have about 400 of these across Kenya now, pickup stations or agencies where customers can go and pick up orders, go and pick up their packages, but also place orders. And our aim is to open up, hundreds of more by the end of the year, so that in key areas on every major street, residential as well as commercial, you can find a place that you can go to ask questions about e-commerce and to place orders without needing to be a digital native or having very regular access to the internet.
Perhaps you've talked about third-party logistics. Maybe you could tell our viewers what probably informed that decision. Perhaps you saw something appetizing in the market. What is the uptake, perhaps?
Yeah, I think actually Kenya actually has a relatively sophisticated logistics industry, full stop, and with a lot of innovation in the sector. I think what we want to bring to the table around this is we have a very large asset, right? We have a very large logistics network with, thousands of riders and vans and everything else in it. So we have the asset, we have very good technology around logistics, and we have know-how. And what I think we're particularly well placed to do is to help B2B or B2C clients that want to do, many deliveries to many different areas across the country. For that, I think we're uniquely positioned. We have probably the largest volume of, packages going in different locations. And I think that can be the differentiator. I think we can offer that service at a very low cost because it builds off the scale that we already have for our e-commerce business.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. If there's one thing I've learned from this conversation as well, is that we should always strive to, wealth maximize rather than profit maximize. Well, we have been speaking to Sam Chapatte, who is the CEO of Jumia Kenya, just talking about the e-commerce space and how we are faring on during this COVID-19 period. Back to you, Betty Kiptum, for the rest of the bulletin.